it's everything. It's everything in connection to a pure life, whatever that means. And, it's kind of restating stuff I said again. It's always been so clear to me that there is no reference point there, because it's hundreds of millions of years ago. How do we reference that today? And I'm able to a powerful enough extent bring that through, and I guess part of that is a little bit of the story of my spirit, and just something that I kind of feel I was born with, because that's always been there. And the way I've felt it before is just this feeling that this acute awareness that the purity is so easily lost, in even just in how we say something. Boom, it's out the window, and of course it's work in progress to come into that, but and the first healing school I went to, like, I don't know, 25 to 30 years ago now, I feel like I was really lucky, because the guy I chose to study with, he had reached some higher states of awakening consciousness, and really brought that through in the teachings. And in receiving those teachings from him, the mechanics of life, of existence, basically, is what he called it, what we talked about. That was a third of the program, and that really kind of anchored that awareness in for me. It's so easy to divert off. It's like, oh, let's take a little shortcut here, and it's fine in the moment, and then and it's interesting, it's like the further up you go, the narrower the road is, and you have less room for mistakes. And it's sort of like, well, that first time that little shortcut is taken, you don't really notice it, but as you go further and further into time, the more it becomes evident, kind of thing. So I just to share our experiences, and to of PLI, and also like in how it impacted your daily life, kind of thing. So yeah, and also, so again, I don't know what how the impact of the sessions showed up in your everyday life, kind of thing.
For me, it was I don't know, a really deep clearing of I don't know, it went very deep to core wounds or something, like when you are pulled in such a in the sessions, it was like being brought more to yourself in the most pure way. It was like, for me, it felt also the being brought more into time and space. The like, there's no room to be here, but it's like you need to be here. Like, this is your purest state. Your also where you can feel the love and the connection to self, that piece. And that was a really big thing every time in a session, being brought to that connection with self. The week after that, I went through detox and layers of where I wasn't in connection with myself. And then in my stubbornness, then those patterns were like, felt very deep. And then, but I got through it, and that felt really good, and it felt also very fast, but I think it brought me to more truth, or to more truthful state with myself in doing daily things in my life, like because the self connection is high, is better, is higher, then I choose better things for myself. That's a big piece. That's a really big piece for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you saying, maybe in an email, how it really changed your relationship to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really big, and it's like it is bigger than I like can explain in words. Like it goes very deep. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, those shifts are, I don't know, they align you so deep with a true version of you, to reconnect with you, that you can feel, I don't know, one session it was like I could feel the parts that were like drifted off, and where I lost the connection with myself, that I could like felt like I could gather them back, or something, like I could gather them back, and in more like it became more like in the place where it needed to be. Like, yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And it's interesting because it's, you know, I didn't have, and I still don't have any expectations of what to expect of what might happen, but that's a really profound shift, because that's like basically the most important shift we can make for ourselves. Is that personal relationship and how we are with ourselves, and that changes everything.
Yeah, that lies at the core. If you have like wounding there, then it sifts through everything you do in your life. If that's not in alignment, and the connection is not there. Yeah,
really nice. Yeah. Can you see, looking back on the month, can you see other ways it showed up, you know, like maybe at work, or maybe with your family, or I don't know, anything else?
Well, one big piece was with work. That was interesting. That was a lot of things came up, like where am I being in a, I was going through periods of very much pressure at work, and a lot of stuff had needed to be done. And then I get really in a perfectionist mode, and overdoing, giving too much of myself. And I was really aware of, okay, in those moments, like I was like running past my capability of getting the work done, and like abusing myself in that way, and really getting back to myself, like, okay, something's not working here, something's not right. There's something not, it's something that's not in alignment. So I really like in those moments I really could like take a step back and like reset, take a step back, reset, and then went on with my work from a total different perspective. Like I was doing fine. I could get things done. I was not being criticized for my work not being good. So I was like more I don't know, more self-loving in a way. That was yeah. That is where it's yeah, I could feel more. I was confronted with the piece of the criticism and the abuse, and then getting back to me and coming from a place of more self-love and not being in the sacrifice mode in case of doing too much work.
Yeah, very nice.
I think that was that was interesting because it happened several times, and like the first time it was a little harder, and then the second time I could see the mechanism going off before I went into the deeper into the deeper pain, and so it went easier, and now I'm like, okay, I can take my hands off those piles of work more easily, and let it be, and it will work itself out. And I think that's a big piece that came up. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that in detail. That's really that's very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was always a piece that I struggled with, like over like get over delivering, and then like and I could like tune in into other people, like they are always calm. Why can't I be calm in this place and just not go into those high expectations? It's like it's not I don't know, it's not needed to get where I want to be, or to deliver my work. What that was. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I guess for me, like during it each week, it brought in, it's like Marley was saying, like that, that connection to self, and just really feeling myself at that deeper level, like within, which I don't know, it's felt like um has been something that's like incrementally the last year been growing, and it's just really magnified it. And then at the same time, it also, along with probably some of the coming into being stuff, brought in a lot of stuff that needed to be let go, and kind of sent me through a bit of detox. Even right now, like I can feel just there's a lot around me, and I don't know, there's also the strength in knowing that I can handle it, and I can really have it, like, not under control, but not gonna take me over and spiral me, like, oh gosh, like this is just that I'm in this pattern, and blah blah blah, I'm not, not able to get out, it's just repeating. But instead it's like I can just have that strength to say, no, I'm done with this. And even if it's not like at the fullest every time I say no, it's still that consistent. Like I feel like I'm more consistent as a result.
So it kind of sounds like, even with I mean, I've known you for, I don't know, 5 years or something now, something like that, 6 years. Yeah. So we've been on this journey for a while together, and so I know you've been doing a lot of work. In fact, we were in Healing Mastery class. That's how we connected, so that was a pretty intense seminar. That was very strong and very intense. So I know you've been doing a lot of this stuff, that frequency work that really has been working through that. But it sounds like this kind of gave you a different layer put in a different layer in there for you that was just as powerful as all this other stuff in a different way. So adding to the support, adding to the inner development, inner growth for that strength and stability.
Yeah, and I don't even know how to describe the difference between it, but it really it is a difference. It almost feels like it's more of an embodiment of it rather than a getting pushed along, like going to that next highest, like I'm still going to the next highest level, but it feels like I'm bringing along the earth, like the earthly part, the physical part more.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's because I don't know, it's more individualized or
My sense it's just a very different approach. It's really, I'm still exploring exactly how I'm doing this, but my sense is that it's like you get, it's like when you want to go soak your body, you want to get into a full tub, as opposed to taking a shower kind of thing. So it's like putting you in that whole environment with specific focuses in that environment, and that by itself starts to push things out, remove things, because it's like soaking in Epsom salts or water or something, where it starts to pull things out of you while you're just soaking in it, as opposed to going in there and removing the stuff, and then your system having to rebuild itself through that or fill in those gaps kind of thing.
yeah, I get that. I felt
Does that sound like that's kind of a good description for what it felt like to you? What's different about it?
yeah, it does. It does feel like that. And I wish I had more more to say. I'm just so blank. Like I'm trying so many-
That's okay. If more pops in later, that's fine. You can always jump back on. Not a problem. Like, oh, well, I'll just put in a thought in a question in your mind, in case anything gets stirred up by that. But anything that you can recall that came up in your life that was specifically connected to, or more specifically connected to the PLI sessions. It's like, oh yeah, this kind of happened because of the sessions kind of thing.
I don't know. It's just I can feel it within me. Here I actually can connect to my internal. Like it somehow goes and just brings me into connection with my internal rather than just feeling, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And I don't know, I mean, it would be interesting to get into the mechanics of that. And I won't even know where to begin to compare that, and not to say one is better than the other, but to understand the process better of what's happening, what's happening with the person. So that's interesting. And also with other people, because I know you worked with other people too, and you said that this is still different than what you felt. Again, not to say one is better than the other, but it's nice for me to hear that, because it's about, well, I'm bringing in another piece. I'm bringing in a new piece that can be really helpful for people, even when they've worked with all these other people. Like, everybody contributes in some way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like it's funny because the first time I was realizing I could feel this, I was thinking like, oh no, that's just like I'm just, because I, like, before I would be like, oh, I can feel like I'm feeling this because of the sealer, but now it's like, no, I can tap into this like any time, and it's not because of another healer. It's like I can feel it because it's me. And that's really
Wow.
amazing to
Yeah.
not know that, it's fleeting and I have to keep doing this, this one work to feel it. Like it's something that I can come back to without having to play a meditation. And yeah, that's what I think, bringing in that pure life infusion, taking us to that state, and just that really deep state of presence has allowed me to feel that. I think that's been the most impactful thing out of like any work that I've done.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very nice. Marlu,
Yeah.
you wanted to add to this piece?
Yeah, it was like the same thing I wrote to you in an email about the also what I felt around the 11/11 session. It was like or the experiment we did.
Yes.
Of how you set up the PLI session. It's you are put in that place of for example, the self-love. You're put into that place and you're really immersed in it, like you're in this bubble and it's real, it's there, it's alive in the, and you can really feel everything in that place. And then when you step out of it, then you have that anchor point. That anchor point is there, so okay, but that's more true. That's the truth. So that's the piece that I know I need to work through to get. And it's I don't know, it's more, it feels more I don't know, like you're in a, I don't know, like you're in a time machine or something, like you're in this bubble, you are put in this bubble with your seatbelts on, and you're brought to the place of the purity, and you don't have to do anything for it. That's the piece. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, for me, in terms of, it's, I'm the facilitator, and yet it's also taken me through a lot of changes. And I think it's really speeded up the process of getting to the point where I'm really stepping out on my own and full on, and putting and bringing out the work that I'm here to do. So pushing me to that edge, and then taking me over the edge, taking me out there, For me, I think it was that's the big piece that it really brought forth for me. It's like, okay, I can really do this and step out on my own, and I'm doing it. What am I waiting for? I'm doing it, and what I'm bringing through in PLI is really starting to come through in my sessions, and it just makes more sense to bring that in the sessions. And and now it's like, okay, well, in singles events, and I think pretty much the 11/11 gateway was the first one where that pure life aspect is coming through. And so the response from people is pretty, it's amazing, because it's like, wow, okay, they're coming back and saying it's incredibly powerful. And it's not that I wasn't doing powerful work before, but it's just taking it to a whole new level. So that's really starting to come through, and bringing through that more fullness to the session, to the individual, to their change, and to that support. And I love that imagery of just that sense of being held as you're moving forward. So yeah, you can do whatever, it's okay. Anything else either of you want to add in?
Yeah, I think just it's really what that it's getting to know yourself with that new reference point and doing your life from that. So automatically things that don't fit in there fall away. Like for me, how I did work, how I gone through assignments, and like, okay, that just doesn't fit the purity I already feel in me, what I deserve to be treated and to right. So it's just a done deal. It just falls away, and I go from a new point in myself, and then express myself or do my things or do my work, or that's a game changer. That's really, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Your work, Marianne, is not really known in for the people who are doing this work. Like it's like it's like an added it's like an
extra piece. Yeah, and I think part of the thing with me is that I come from an energy healing background, so I come from that aspect of, which is different than frequency work. It is a different level. Their frequency and energy work are different. They certainly do overlap, because all my teachers have talked about frequency, but talking more about energy because that was the terminology back then. And now it's the cool thing to say frequency. It's like everybody, I've noticed, people don't say guru or teacher anymore. They say mentor, So it's a question of what people feel comfortable with and what is the more commonly used terminology as we go along. But it really has given me, I think that's part of it comes through in my work. Because you can't, you don't just ignore everything that's come before. You build up on top of it. And so I know that other clients have commented for private sessions about, it's like, I fill in that, I work on that space. So I think that might be part of what's coming into play here. And it's not like I necessarily have to do it actively, but my system goes into that because it's done that for so long. And I trained in that, and I learned that, and I worked in that. So I think that might be one of the changing pieces, the pure hands-on frequency energy healing like I got, which is very different. That's how I started doing my work, was hands on the person and that flow of energy coming through the person. And I know that still comes through when I work on people. Kind of thing. So that might be kind of the piece that comes in that makes it different. That really makes it kind of unique.